Welcome to a brand new video series called CDS Magic. The CDS Magic video series will focus on the Common Data Service and the Common Data Model so that you understand the value of this data schema. CDS for apps is available in both Canvas and model-driven applications, and it adds a lot of new functionality to what you can do with data compared to many data systems. So this series will highlight all the different components of CDS for apps that you'll be able to use in your Canvas and model-driven applications. In this first demo, I'm going to go over business rules. Business rules are a great way to reduce the time you spend configuring your Canvas-based apps and expedite your forms and view building in model-driven apps. It also adds to the experience in both environments by protecting your users from having to memorize all of your business policies and business standards. So you can build a lot of those rules that your business likes to live by directly into your data. So this is very different than like clicking on a field and saying, if this is that, then show this, otherwise don't. Or if this is over 25, then do this, otherwise don't. And that situation of clicking on every single item on your controls in your apps is time consuming. But I'm going to show you how you can build it into your data. So what I've done is I've built an app here from the inspections entity. Took me just a few minutes. I did just a few things like adding the fields that I wanted, formatting my cost as currency, things like that. And basically it just works, right? The inspectors use this to go in and make inspections, and they use this inspection form here, and they fill out their inspection form. They give a rating to the inspection of the equipment. They set a fault tolerance rating. They estimate the repair costs, and they estimate the number of days to repair it. They even add notes. Now, what this company has noticed is that people don't always do the best estimations of cost and repair, especially in very urgent situations. And in this particular scenario, we're defining urgency by the fault tolerance rating. So basically, if that fault tolerance rating is high, we want to hurry up and get the thing repaired. And we want to make sure that we estimate enough money and enough repair days to get it done. All right. So think about how you might do this in Canvas-driven apps if you were using a different data source. You might go ahead and have columns for repair days, and fault tolerance, right? But then you would have people who would type in here, and then you'd have to click on it and say, okay, if this is that, then do this, right? So we have a policy that we want to use here where if the fault tolerance is over 75, we want that repair cost to be at a minimum 1,000, right? And we want to add 5 days of repair. So no matter what the user types here, we want to make sure when we have those really high fault tolerance ratings that our estimated repair cost is at 1,000 and that our repair days are at 5. Because we've used our own insights to figure out that's the requirement in those cases. So again, if I was in my normal Canvas-driven app and I was in some other data source, I would maybe click on estimated repair cost and say, if the fault tolerance is greater than X, then use variable Y here, which means I have to set a variable when they set the fault tolerance. Then I'll have to set that variable to be as the default of this field. And I'd have to have a variable also for repair days and have it in here. And that's what I would have to do on every screen that I'd want to show that, right? And so, no, you don't have to do that. This is the magic of the Common Data Service. You can build that kind of logic directly into the app. And let me just show you how this works. So I'm going to be an inspector, and I'm going to make a new inspection. So I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to just type new inspection, CDS Magic, right? And then I'm going to leave it active, and I'm going to set the rating to 2, right? And a very high fault tolerance of 76, right? Now, this is fairly high, but in my humble opinion as a repairman, I think that's going to take only $500, and I can do it in 2 days because I'm awesome. And so I'd like to say here, I think I can finish this in 2 days, right? Here's my very high confidence maintenance man, right? Or maintenance woman. And so then I accept that. Now watch very carefully what happens when I submit this. It is going to go ahead and submit what this person is saying, but what this person is estimating is going to be replaced based on business rules. So I'm going to hit yes to submit it. And now if we scroll down, I should have sorted this by descending order, but here's what I just did at 7 a.m. I'm sorry, here's what I did at 7:16 a.m. New inspection CDS Magic. Notice that the estimated cost is at 1,000 now. The repair days are at 5. It's actually been tagged as an urgent repair. So irrelevant to what that inspector expected to be able to do, we overrode that based on algorithms that we decided in our business. How did we do that? Well, first I want to say that I did not do anything in this Canvas app. I didn't click on a single thing. I didn't go to the right panel and choose rules. I didn't go to the top left and choose a property and if-then statement. I didn't make an awesome formula. I did none of that. I set the policy in the entity. And let me show you that policy. So in the entity here, we have an entity called inspection. You have it in your environment too. If you make a new environment and you create a new database, you will find these default entities in your environment, right? So this inspection entity here has the estimated repair cost as a column. It also has fault tolerance rating, it has rating, and it has repair days. What we have done is we've set a business rule to set those fields based on a condition. And that's something I know I've missed it from InfoPath, the ability to just set a field based on a condition. So now I've got that back. And so let's look at this business rule. Notice that you have a business rule tabs here, and the business rule right here that's activated is set repair based on false tolerance. And then I'm going to open that up. Now, what you'll notice when you first start working in this is that there's these many designers. This happens to be a business rules designer that I've opened up here. And these designers will get a little bit less diverse. In other words, we're going to try and make this a more unified experience, but you will have to manage windows a little bit as you start building on all the features in CDS, okay? You'll notice at the top here, this is the title and description of my business rule. I have the ability to add, cut, copy, paste, delete, or snapshot any of it. I really like that. And let's look closely at this situation. Now, in business rules, you have a variety of components. You have conditions, which is like kind of what triggers it, right? Then you have all the actions from those conditions. And so if I click on this over here, you'll see that our condition that we're starting with, we named it if measured over 75. So if the fault tolerance is over 75 in the inspection entity, and you can see here fault tolerance rating is greater than 75. So this gray area right here is basically the configuration that I would do. This is just the name of it. So sometimes you want to make sure that you name your conditions so that you can see them in your diagram here. Makes it easier for you to catch problems and or remember what you did, all right? But no matter what you type into display name, you need to configure your rules down below. And notice you can add new rules here. So the first rule is entity is greater than 70, the fault tolerance rating is greater than 75. And you can see that here. Well, what happens if it is? So if that statement is true, we go over to this left here, and now we have a set field value action. And what are we setting this field value to? We're setting the repair needed field to urgent repair. We are then setting the repair days to a value of 5. And finally, we're setting the budget to 1,000. This is why those users' entries were overridden in this case. Now, we can also have an if not true situation where we're saying, okay, well, it's not over 75. What if it's over 25, somewhere between 25 and 75? Then let's go ahead and set that repair needed field to regular maintenance due. And let's set the default repairs to 1, okay? And then finally, if neither of those are true, let's go ahead and set the repair needed value to operating normally. Now this is really huge, and you can see it summarized like down here, below here. This summarizes the entire business rule. I can collapse that if I don't want to look at it here, but it kind of spells it out. So that's easier for me to know exactly what my entire diagram is going to do. But looking at how we're controlling the budget, we're controlling the budget in days, we're controlling the budget in currency, we're even controlling what kind of repair this is. In essence, I could, on this form, completely remove the estimated repair form, cost, and the repair days. The reason I could remove them if I want is I can completely calculate them based on false tolerance with my business rule, and then I don't even have to bother my maintenance men with that estimate. In this case, I'm leaving it for anything that has I'm leaving it in case they want to estimate cost on something that is operating normally, right? Let's say they have to replace a valve. But what I love is I can totally remove any unnecessary fields that I can calculate from my user and just give them a very tiny form to fill out, which they'll be happy about because they can fill it out fast, right? And they don't have to worry about some of the things that, the business as a whole worries about in this case. So once I have that business rule configured, I need to activate it. You'll notice I can deactivate it now because it's activated. So, and this is not hard to do. Let's just show you how this looks like from an entity perspective, right? So I didn't change that business rule, so it's fine. Let's add a new one just to play around a little bit before we close this video. I bet you're imagining like hundreds of ways to use this, and I do encourage you to use it, right? Sample fault tolerance, right? So in this case, I'm going to just set my condition here to be that I'm still in the inspection. Check low tolerance. I'll just do that, right? And then I'll make sure that I'm still looking at that false tolerance rating. And this would be, if I really wanted to do this, I would put it in the other one because it's still about false tolerance rating. Let's see, let's do something different so I'm not setting a bad practice for you. So let's do check rated. Let's do that, right? So now we're using a different condition. And what we're going to do is check ratings above 4, okay? So then we say, well, what if they give a rating that is greater than the value of 4, right? I can then click apply. Now that is my condition. Rating is greater than 4, all right? Maybe if the rating is greater than 4, let's see, what could we do? Let's, I'm going to go ahead and set a field value, and you notice I can just carry it to true, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and fill out an inspection note here for them, right? Maybe, no, that one might override something they have. So let's just do this. Let's do fault tolerance 4. So in other words, if the inspection rating is above is 5, right? I could have said equals 5, right? If the rating is above 4 or equals 5, then I want the fault tolerant rating to be 4, and that's basically all I want it to be. If the rating is above 4, right? So I'm actually going to set, now I can set this to anything I want to set it to. I'm just giving you an example how I do this. Now what I like about this interface also is I can copy and paste, and I've missed being able to copy and paste rules. I got it back here, right? So I can copy this particular field value, paste it, and it says, what do you want to do with it? You want it as a true or you want it as a false? Where do you want to put it, right? Notice I can put it anywhere I click, right? So I'm going to put it in the false area. And then this is the opposite, right? So if it's not above 4, right, or if it's not 5, what do I want to do? And in this case, I probably wouldn't put a negative in here, but I definitely could. I could do anything I want here. I'm actually don't like this reasoning, so I'm just going to delete that. So it's very easy to delete conditions, just like it is to add them and to copy them. So these are just ways to show you all that's available in these business rules, right? So if the rating is above 4, the fault tolerance will be set to 4. But you have all these rich options to do here. Now I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to validate it to make sure that it's correct. And it will kind of let you know whether you're doing a good job when you're validating. I'm going to go ahead and activate it. And so now this is both validated and activated. And so both of those rules are running. And this is where you want to be careful, because you can create conflicting business rules. And if you're helping someone troubleshoot, go and check to see what they've validated, or what they've activated and what they've not activated. And you can always kind of swap, turn one off, turn one on. And I'm going to actually do that here. I'm going to deactivate the other one and leave this one activated. Yes, I can have both of them activated. I just want to show you what's going to happen. So it may take a minute for that to work. In the meantime, let's see if we can go into edit mode on our app. So there's our new business rule activated. Let's go ahead and deactivate this one, which I believe I have to go all the way into my business rules to deactivate that. There's not right now an easy way to do that from the UI in Canvas. So I deactivate. And now all I've done is stopped it from paying attention to this business rule. It no longer will pay attention. So now if I go back here and I say done, you'll notice that that rule has been deactivated, which means nobody's using it. Now, what you want to be careful with, I'll show you just before we go into that rating. You don't have delete these handy up here. And what I have made a mistake and done, and I hope you don't, is I've clicked on this and assumed, oh, let me click here to delete that. Don't do that, right? Now, I'm lucky because there are dependencies on the entity and it won't be deleted. Yay! But if I hadn't made those dependencies yet, my entity would be deleted. Not just this rule, but the entity. So be careful. You don't delete these. You can just rename them, delete or something. That's what I've been doing for now. I believe we'll get the ability to delete them later on. Just be careful. Don't use that delete up here to think that you're deleting these. That's not the case, okay? So be careful, all right? So now that I've got that rating thing on, which basically if the value is 5, or I said specifically above 4, then it's going to set the fault tolerance to 4. So let's go see it work, right? Now it's going to automatically work in any app that's being built on that entity, by the way. That's the fun thing about this. Every app I build from now on respects those rules. Every app that's been done before will respect those rules, right? So you think about scalability on an enterprise level. Wow, just blows it out of the water, right? I don't have to go back into those apps and make any changes at all. The business rules will be respected as part of the data schema, right? So let's just let this run. And then we're going to go ahead and, well, we could probably edit one. So let's just edit one. So this one here, it's not above 4. So let's make it above 4. All right. So let's just go edit this and make it above 4. Now, if I make it 5, look at right now, the fault tolerance is 15, right? I'm going to make it 5 and go ahead and submit that. Bearing replacement 7, right? Notice the false tolerance rating is now 4. It took in our business rule, okay? And this is awesome, all right? All of you, put on your thinking hats. Start recognizing how you can leverage this in your business, because there's more to tell you. This is only the first CDS Magic demo. I look forward to doing the next one with you soon. I'm hoping to do these like every other week. So when I'm not doing a Friday functions, I'll do a CDS Magic. How about that? Let me know, and I'll be talking to you soon. I hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend.